Welcome to Board Gaming with Austin. Today I'm going to be doing a detailed rules video on the game Umbra by Pandasaurs Games. It is a 2 to 5 player game. Watch out for that 2-player variation. It plays in 30 to 45 minutes for ages 8 and up. Now, I wanted to preface this entire video by saying I created the script for this video. If I sound, monotone, it's because I'm reading from the script, but I'll try to be as fluent as I can. This video uh, is going to be very detailed, where you can follow along in your rule book, but there's going to be an addition I have. As we go throughout the entire rule book, I'm going to be trying to explain things easier and pointing out things on this board here for you to actually see to relate back to your game. At the end of the game, this game is a 2 to 5 player game. I generally don't recommend it for 2 players. Watch my review video. But at the end of this detailed rules video, I'm going to add my version of the 2-player game that I played and actually does test out and works well. Okay, so we are going to begin by talking about the setup from the rulebook. I made everything easier, except I am going to read the setup directly here. Place boards. Place the main board in the center of the table, and then place the altar board above it. You can place it in any orientation that best fits your play group in your space. Then you're going to shuffle the path tiles and place them face down in a single stack near the altar, which is right here. Then you're going to place the 4 placement counters near the altar as well, which are right there. That's the second part. Third part is take player pieces. Each player chooses a color and takes the following pieces of that color. 1 bidding board. That's going to be this little piece here. The player screen, which is this piece here. And you're going to be using those to hide that board from the other people. The screen is also a player aid, though. You're going to get 1 bag of your color, 33 energy flowers, and I put them in here until I need to put them in the bag. And then 17 soul flowers. Now what you're going to do with the energy flowers is you're going to take 1 of them out and put them over there on the tiebreaker spot. You're going to want to shake those up randomly and then place them in order from top to bottom, in descending order, top to bottom. Then you're going to grab 11 of your soul flowers, which are the lighter color of your flowers. And let me do that really quick. And you're going to place it on your soul board down here. Sorry, I'm actually getting ahead of myself. You're going to take your soul tile and place it below the game board down here with the X2 side facing down and this side with the 2 soul flower symbols facing up. Then you're going to want to put the 11 soul flowers on your colored tile like that. And then you're going to put the rest of the remaining soul flowers and energy flowers, so it'll be 6 soul flowers, 32 energy flowers, back into the bag, or into your bag for the first time, I should say. And that's going to be your draw bag, bidding bag. Alrighty. Now here we go. Let's begin the game. In the rule books, I want to start off by saying and giving you an overview. You will play rounds, unlimited rounds, until someone has earned all of their soul flowers on their soul tile down here. Plus, earn the soul tile itself, which, as you can see by the image, is equal to 2 soul flowers. And it has special rules for how it can be acquired. Each round takes place over 3 phases, plus a step called the summoning, which can interrupt phase 3. If it interrupts phase 3, you'll continue phase 3 until it's over, and restart the round. So if you're playing as a 2-player game, like is set up right here, I will go over a 2-player variant at the end of the directions like they do in the rulebook, but I don't recommend playing their variant. After I explain their variant, I'll explain how I played it as my version. I recommend doing it that way. So phase 1 is round setup. This has one step. You'll reveal 4 tiles from this face down pile next to the altar, and you can rotate them and do whatever to this tile until someone sees its orientation or the image on it, and or it's placed on the board in one of the altar's 4 slots. So you can do this and everything, but as soon as someone sees that image of what it is or what orientation it was, like flips it over and sees it, then it has to be placed down like that. Or if you did that, set it down, it immediately stays in that orientation. And it cannot be rotated or have its orientation changed until it's removed to the discard pile, which you'll be ending up creating over here to the right of the board. If there's no face down pile, if there is no face up pile, face down pile left, you want to reshuffle the discarded tiles and refresh the draw pile here by putting them back here after they're shuffled. So phase 2 is when bidding takes place. So step 1 of bidding is you want to secretly draw 3 flowers from your bag and hide them behind your screen here. Step 2 is you want to allocate. So let's do that. You secretly draw 3. So we'll flip these all over. Phase 2 is bidding. Secretly grab your flowers and place them on the board, bidding board. And you're going to be doing this behind your screen so other players can't see. All right, now step 3 of the bidding phase is revealing. Once everyone has completed secretly bidding, each player will place the flowers from their bidding board onto the corresponding tiles on the altar board. So this is on 4, this is on 3, and this was on 2. Now step 4 is you repeat this, steps 1 through 3, by drawing 3 more flowers secretly, allocating them to the bidding board, and revealing them to the corresponding tile on the altar board. Then, when you're done with the second time, you move on to the 3rd phase, which is placement. And let's just give you an example of, they did this. All right. So phase 3 is placement. Step 1 of the placement phase is discard any altar tiles that don't have bids on them. They all have bids on them in this scenario. Step 2 is you assign a placement order counter on each tile with a bid. They all have bids, so you're going to place an order counter on all of them, placement counter. They'll go in order from the tile with the least flowers going first and the tile with the most going last. If there's a tie, the tile closest to the left side goes first. All right. Now, when I say number of flowers, I mean physical count, not point value. And the directions don't do a good job explaining that. So, for example, this has 2 physical flowers. That has 2 physical flowers. So, the rule is if they're tied, you start with the one closest to the left side. That goes first, and then go to the right, giving each one their points. Now both these have 4 flowers, so again, you begin with the right, that's third, and you give the next one the 4th tile. So the placement of how they're going to be placed begins with this one, and then this one, and then this one. Then, next, starting with the first placement counter, which is this one, and continuing to the last placement, do the next 4 steps to each tile one at a time. So we begin with this one. First count. Step 3, you determine the winner. You count each player's bid. Energy flowers count as 1 bid, soul flowers count as 2 bids. So right here, they have 1 soul flower on it, and I have 1 energy flower. So they won this bid. Step 4 is you remove soul flowers from the tile and set them aside to be permanently removed from the game. Only remove remove soul flowers. So there's 1 soul flower on this board here. So that's removed from the game entirely. Step 5 is you place that tile on the main board in an open spot following the rules for placement. So I'll move this over now because we're past that point. Rules for placement is the orientation must stay the same. Basically, just slide the piece straight down onto the board. If there are no tiles on the board, you may place it on one of the 4 center squares. There's no tiles on the board right now, so you're going to place it right here, or here, or here, or here. All right. If there are squares on this board, like there is now, this tile, next to the tile you just placed, must touch an entire side of an existing tile. And I'll show you by doing the next one. There are no requirements beyond that. All other placement is legal. You can block off a path, continue a path. Here, I'll do it with the second one. You can do this. You can end your path or go into no path. You can end the path that was just there. Or you can continue a path. Other than the rules I just said, there are no other rules. Step 6, once every tile is placed, you check if you have completed a path. So this was just placed. There was no path completed. And I'm going to do the other pieces real quick. So then this would go second. There are no soul flowers on it, so it gets placed down. It must be placed next to this one. So I would block off the tile there. Now the third one must go down. This one has 2 soul flowers on it, so you remove those soul flowers from play completely, and then you can place it down. It's touching the entire side of 1 tile. So then now you go on to the 4th one who has no soul flowers, and then you can place it down here. Now, after every single tile is placed, you want to see if step 6 was see if any path had been completed. A path wasn't completed when I placed this. A path wasn't completed when I placed this. It wasn't completed when I placed this, but when I placed this tile, it completed this path. A path is complete when all open trails have been blocked or cut off with stone walls. Your tile may end up finishing a trail, such as, let's see. There's not a good example here. If I placed a curving tile this way, it could complete this trail. It'd be a rainbow-shaped trail, a U-shaped trail. That would be completing a trail. Or your tile that you just place could complete a trail by cutting off another trail, like I just did. This trail piece here cut off this trail, which finished this trail, still resulting in this trail being complete. So if this happens, a trail being complete, you immediately interrupt phase 3 tile placement and take the action called the summoning. Once you have completed the summoning, you come back and continue steps 3 through 6 of the placement phase, phase 3, on each tile until you either complete another path, at which point you would do a summoning again, or you have placed all the bidded tiles from the altar like I've done now. So at this point, I would go to the summoning step, then come back, and phase 3 is complete, so then you begin a new round. So if you have complete all steps, all tiles like this, then you begin a new round for phase 1 if no one has triggered endgame requirements. So now we're going to talk about what summoning is, because at this point we would go into summoning. So the summoning is not a phase. It is a step that interrupts phase 3. You could end up doing a summoning multiple times in one round. In our situation, we only ended up doing it once during phase 3. After a summoning, the completed path is discarded to the discard pile over here and later reshuffled. When this draw pile is completely emptied, it's later reshuffled back into a new draw pile. This frees the board and other played tiles up in unique ways that allow you to continue previously blocked tiles. So after the summoning, this tile will be moved to the discarded pile, and then this spot here will be freed up, which doesn't give us any unique situations to continue playing off that spot, but it might have if we had used this piece to block other trails. Like you might be able to actually complete another trail better. So now these are the steps of a summoning. The summoning action, which is not a phase. It interrupts phase 3 though. Step 1, you want to rank the players. So in this situation, we rank players of this tile. So you rank players 1 through 5 based on the number of flowers they have on all tiles in the path that was completed. Players with tied flower count tied in rank. The next ranked person is one rank below them. Remember, each flower at this point is an energy flower and only counts as 1 point each, because once you've got to this point, you had removed all the soul flowers. No flowers there, such as this tile not having any orange flowers, counts as 0 rank. So only the purple player is ranked on this tile here when you're doing the summoning. So step 1 is ranking the players. This purple player is ranked 1. They're the only person ranked. Then you award. Step 2 is awarding each player based on their ranks. The person or persons ranked 1 get 1 soul flower from their soul tile down here per tile in the completed path. Each player after that gets half the soul flowers rounded down of the person above them. So in this situation, this person is the only one ranked. They would get 1 soul flower from down here per tile. There's only 1 tile in this completed path, so they get 1 soul flower. And I'll tell you what they do with that next. But here's another example. So if you have a 6 tile, let's just give you an example without making it complicated, showing you the path, the trail look design. A 6 tile trail, completed trail, gives the first person 6 soul flowers, gives the second ranked person half of that, so 3 soul flowers from their soul tile. And then the third ranked person gets half of that, which is 1.5, but it's rounded down, so they get 1 soul tile from theirs. And then the fourth person gets half of that, which is 0.5, rounded down, so it's 0. And then obviously, if you're playing with 5 people, they would get 0 as well. Now, step 3. You want to collect your flowers. So each player then takes their energy flower back from the completed track, and then they take their awarded flower, in this case, 1 awarded flower, and adds them to their bag that they'll be drawing from when they bid in the future. Then, step 4 is clear the path. All completed path tiles are now discarded. You take that off the board and put it into the discard pile. All right, now game end. The rulebook goes on to talk about the game end. If you claim your soul tile, you win. This tile down here. That requires you to complete a path and be ranked number 1 on the completed path, you have claimed all the soul flowers from the soul tile, and you need to collect at least 2 more soul flowers. So let me explain that. These are the different rules for how the game can end. Here's examples. You can complete the game without enough, or you complete a trail without enough for 2 more soul flowers. So in this situation, let's say they had 2 soul flowers left on their soul tile, and their soul tile counts as 2 soul tiles as well. So let's say that let's say that the yellow player here, let's say that this trail is being calculated right now. They won this trail. They get 1 soul flower for each tile. So they get their 2 soul flowers. In this situation, they got 2 soul flowers, but they have not claimed their soul tile. In this situation, they came in first, but they did not claim their soul tile, so they did not win the game. You have to now go on to win more tiles, another 2 tile situation, to completely finish summoning this soul tile. As soon as this soul tile is emptied, it's flipped over to the X2 side, symbolizing that it's emptied. And that's basically telling you that this now costs you 2 soul tiles. But the rules for winning is you first must come in first place on the trail that you just on that trail. So let's say this is the situation now. They won this trail, Orange did. They had no soul flowers left. They have their soul flower tile. If they win this trail, they came in first, which is the main, literally the requirement for getting a winning condition. They got 2 soul flowers, which is the cost of their tile, so they won. That's another example of how they can win. Now, here's another example of them not completing it because they didn't get first. So in this situation, let's say that we had, let's see, this situation. That wouldn't be on the board. Let's say we had this situation. Orange has 3 on this completed path. Purple only has 2. Whoops, sorry, let me change that up. Orange has 1 on this completed path. Purple has 2. It's a 4 path. So when they rank them, purple is number 1, orange is 2. So purple gets 4 soul flowers. Orange would technically get half of that. So 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 is enough to buy this soul tile. Unfortunately, the requirement for buying your soul tile when there's no flowers left on it is you have to win first place. Here's another example. Let's say orange had 1 soul flower left on their board, soul tile, and their soul tile is worth 2. Now let's say they had a situation like this, where they won this trail. They went ranked number 1 on a 4 tile completed trail. Purple ranked 2. Orange ranked 1, which is the requirement to win. They won 1 soul tile per tile, so they won 4 soul flowers. It only takes 1 soul flower to buy this, and 2 to buy this, so that's 3. They could win in that first shot right there. But again, like earlier, I explained, if they didn't come in first, if it's, let's say it's a bigger trail, let's say it's worth 4 points, they get 4 points. They can't buy it if they didn't win first place on that trail. All right, so let's move on. Sorry. Special tiles. I'm not going to explain the special tiles because I didn't use these. Special tiles are over here. I didn't use them. But two-player variant. Unfortunately, there's a two-player variant that I don't really like. I don't recommend using this variant, so I would recommend you skip forward to the section where I explain how I played it as a two-player. If you want to do this two-player variant, I recommend watching my two-player variant video that I'm hopefully going to create with a gameplay, or a two-player variant video online if I don't make it. And I would get used to the regular game before adding the two-player variant rules into it, or play the three-player before doing it two-player. But let me begin the two-player variant setup. These rules specifically are added to the main game rules. You follow the regular game rules, the regular game setup and everything. Then you add these rules. So these might not be the most detailed rules. They're going to cover general information because I don't recommend this method. But choose a random color for a third player AI. Third AI player. You're going to give 3 of their soul flowers, the lighter colored flowers of that color, to each player to add to their bags. Then 11 soul energy. Sorry. And then you're going to give them, each player, 16 of that AI's energy flowers to put into their bag. Then you're going to grab 11 of the AI players' colors soul flowers and place it onto their board, soul tile, on the bottom of the board. And you're going to have the 2X face down for them. There will be 1 energy flower left over from the third player AI. You're just going to set that back in the box, get rid of it. I have it in a little bag over there. Now, two-player variant bidding. The only changes you add to bidding, or I'll explain in a little, but you bid like normal. So when you pick the AI's flowers, they have the same point count as yours. But keep in mind, after these flowers help you win placement choice for tiles, they count the AI when scoring points. They count for the AI. So you're going to be drawing the AI's flowers from here. Once you're bidding them and place them up here, they're going to count to score who places these tiles onto the board. But once the tiles are placed onto the board, those flowers, there'll be only energy flowers down here. We play the exact same way. Only the energy flowers, when they're down here, help count toward the AI winning those tiles and then ranking points on those tiles. So pretty much, I'll kind of explain that in a little. So yeah, this means the AI can steal points from you. When you review when flowers, you reveal your bids onto the tiles, you'll want to separate your bids. When you reveal your bids onto the tiles, you'll want to separately bid from your opponents by placing them on the sides of the closest to your seat. So you'll have a tile here, and when you're revealing your bids from your bidding chart to here, only difference is you're going to want to place all of your bids on the separate side from your opponents, because that can help you score the points by who had the most points. Because when you play your AI's flowers, it counts towards your points, like I just explained. All flowers are counted the same and scored. Two-player variant, placement phase. So points for placement are counted the same. 1 for energy, 2 for soul flowers. You still remove all soul flowers before you place the tiles onto the board. You keep energy flowers from all 3 players on the tiles. Once all tiles are placed on the board, each flower counts for the player whose color it is when it comes to ranking for points. So your colors count for you, your opponents for them, the third player from them uh, during summoning. And then 2-player variant summoning, you want to rank all 3 players separately. The winning player, or the player who completed the path, bags the AI's energy flowers and the awarded soul flowers from the completed path. Once the AI has their tile flipped, all tile soul flowers you're awarded when you win paths is doubled. So when their soul flowers are completely gone in your bags, it flips over. Times 2 means if you win a trail, so let's see, I'll give you an example. I won this trail. It's flipped over, so every single tile won in that trail counts as 2 soul flowers. So normally it'd be 1 soul flower per tile. When the AI's tile is flipped over, it's 2 soul tiles per tile, which allows you to finish the game quicker. That's pretty much all I've noticed from the AI is they allow you to pretty much complete the game quicker if you flip their tile over. And they might give you a little more chance with this bag, but essentially that zeroes out the benefit of the AI because there's just too much chance in this that it makes no sense for the AI to be in there because it just adds more chance of getting these. Like, yeah, you can win maybe some more soul tiles, but I noticed during my gameplay of the 2-player variant is you're just basically getting the same amount of these soul flowers from the AI that your bags are about the same as they were before. So then I only notice essentially one specific thing. And technically, the AI helps uh, you offset each other's points during summonings, but the mechanic in the game that says you get the first player gets the soul flower per tile, the second the each player under them gets half of the one above them. That mechanic there essentially takes away the benefit of the AI anyway, because in this situation here, the first player gets 4 soul flowers, the second player gets 2, the third player gets 1. What's the difference really between 2 and 1? There's not much. So if I'm first player and my opponent is third player or third ranked, then they're going to be 1 less soul flower below me than they would have been. That's not really that important. So I only noticed one big benefit of the AI, and that was the fact that the AI is good at breaking. Um, Ironically, it's great at breaking ties that itself creates, but it's good at breaking ties. So this is how I did my 2-player variation. My 2-player variation is follow the exact rules that the rule book gives you on pages 1, from the very beginning of the book. So 1 all the way to 10. Follow those rules exactly how it gives you the rules for a 3 to 5 player game. Ignore the 2-player variant last 2 pages technically, and play it how the rule book intends you to play it for a 3 to 5 player game. But and everything's the exact same. However, when it comes to creating paths in ties, there's only one change you need to make. And I've played the game like this, and I've tested it, and it works. Let's say you're creating trails here, like this. Okay, so that's a path you have going on. Let's say you were about to, and this is so rare that you don't even really need to pay attention to it too much, because I think we had like one game where it happened, but it can happen. So you want to have this knowledge in your head on how to take care of a tie. So in this situation, we got a trail going on where the purple player has 2 energy flowers there, and the orange player has 3 energy flowers. Now let's say the purple player has a new tile that they're going to place first because it only had one energy flower on it, so they get to place it first because of the order of things. Now, let's say that by them placing this here, it would cause a tie for this trail. So this is the variation rules change that I added. If there's a tie on the trail, the person who placed the tile that completed the trail, properly completed the trail like this, open end to open end, the trail has been extended by me placing this tile here, that person wins this tiebreaker because they're the ones that completed the trail with a legal completing the trail piece. Now, the reason why, and then the other rule variant is, let's say it's tied here, and someone wanted to put a piece like this, and they cut off that trail to either purposely because they're being a jerk, or for whatever reason they have no other way to put this tile anywhere on the board except here in this very spot, or they're continuing another trail that they've been working on, and they that was the next step to do, was to put this here. Well, now there's a tie here on this trail. My rule variant adds that if there's a tie on that trail, or it ends in a tie on that trail when the trail is completed, then if someone had blocked off that trail improperly like this to make it complete, so they didn't extend it, they blocked it off, then whoever blocked it off loses the tie break and the other player wins. The reason for this rule variant is because it prevents people from being jerks and saying, I want that trail to stop right now. I'm going to put that down. And then it gives you the complexity of, now how do we figure out that rule, that tie not being broken. And that's that. Now, I couldn't remember. I think earlier I did come up with a situation where it would have been tied and there's no way to figure it out who would have been the tie even with this rule. I don't think there is, but if there is, then you could resort to this here, the order of whatever tiebreaker was first. So if this doesn't work for whatever reason, then you look up here for this tiebreaker. Whoever's on top ends up winning that tiebreak. All right. Thank you guys for listening through this video and listening to my two-player variation. I appreciate it. Have a good day.